If you can hear me, type a 1 down below in the chat. Let me know if everything is good. Again, this is kind of on the fly here, so I didn't quite have everything prepared. Alrighty, so we're rolling. So thank you all for joining me here this afternoon. The time is now 5:18 p.m. Central, 6:18 p.m. Eastern, and we have a brand new tornado warning ongoing for portions of Pecos County, Texas. Now, we've been watching some of these supercells develop down here in portions of far western Texas for a while, but this one has managed to actually develop quite an impressive hook echo with a clear area of inflow over Highway 285. So if you're in this area, we need you to seek shelter immediately on the lowest floor of a sturdy building, away from windows and in an interior room. This is southeast of Fort Stockton, Texas. Now, I do have to note that this storm here does have a history of producing landspouts and damaging wind gusts near the Fort Stockton area, and we're actually receiving reports of wind damage in the area right now, such as trees down, power lines down, and more. But again, this supercell is starting to become incredibly concerning with that look on the reflectivity as this moves down Highway 285. So if you're in this area, we need you to be in your safe spot immediately. Again, we do have Storm Chaser, Storm Intermediate on this storm right now. They are actually on the edge of this thing, but soon they're going to have a live look at what's going on there in that little hook echo. Again, you can see all those rain shafts there. So we're going to be watching this storm quite closely as this moves down Highway 285. This is going to be, again, in very rural portions of southern Pecos County. So honestly, if this thing produces a tornado, it's not the end of the world. However, there are still a few farmsteads and things like that out here in this area, so I wanted to make sure that we did at least briefly go live and cover this. Now, I would like to note this is a full-scale severe weather outbreak that we do have ongoing here across portions of West Texas and the Texas Panhandle right now. We do have 12 severe thunderstorm warnings in effect, most of them coming from all these little supercells developing back into the Texas Panhandle. I will say we do have a storm that is likely developing some rotation near Clarendon, and even if it is, and again, you can see that hail core there, we've got very large hail with this thing, 70 plus dBz, is warned for lime-sized hail at the moment, and again, potentially some broad rotation there on the velocities, but very hail contaminated, so it's kind of hard to tell. But if you are in Clarendon, Texas, make sure that at the very least you are getting indoors and away from windows. I would not be surprised to see a bit of a flooding threat start to ramp up here across the Texas Panhandle soon, as many of these areas are going to be getting slapped by multiple supercells, high precipitation supercells in a row. For example, we've already got ourselves over 2 inches of rain starting to accumulate, 2.5 inches of rain even south of Clarendon, Texas, and this same area still has the potential to see another inch or two of rain over the next couple hours. So some localized street flooding definitely going to be a possibility. But again, our main concern at the moment comes with our tornado warning storm, not only for the possibility of a landspout or tornado, but also some very large hail occurring with this storm, likely up to the size of golf balls or larger south of I-10, and then also another little supercell here has merged with some impressive hail north of Highway 67. So again, if you are included in this tornado warning, you need to make sure that you are seeking shelter immediately. See you, Mr. Twister, thank you for tuning in. But we are going to go ahead and take a look at that brand new severe thunderstorm warning that we just got there. That is going out for Copiah County in Mississippi. Now, this is going to be for the community of Hazelhurst. This is another little supercell that's developed with a pretty impressive hail core there, moving over Tillman at the minute. And we just got another brand new severe thunderstorm warning going out for one of our Texas supercells back into the Panhandle. This is an extension for our storm near the Howardwick area. So if you're in this region, make sure that you are getting indoors and away from windows immediately. This is for parts of I-40 in between Groom, as well as in between McLean there. So again, make sure that you are getting indoors and away from windows. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect for sections of the Texas Panhandle and far western portions of Texas, but they have mentioned that they are likely going to issue a brand new severe thunderstorm watch soon for parts of Kansas and Oklahoma as this threat continues to gradually shift northeastward over the next little while here. So we're going to wait and see what happens. I'd also like to note we have been watching a severe thunderstorm, now sub-severe, over the Peoria metro region back into central portions of Illinois. This produced some quarter-sized hail over the Farmington region, and this is likely producing some hail potentially up to pea-size and bring maybe some 30 to 40 mile-an-hour gusts to downtown Peoria right now. So if you are in Peoria, make sure that you are getting indoors immediately. This storm is going to be moving off through more eastern portions of Tazewell County over the next several minutes, but I would not be shocked to see any of these storms back here in northern Illinois produce some large to very large large hail, as we do have some pretty potent lapse rates out here sitting at about 7 to 8 depending on what layer of the atmosphere you look at. So again, all around a pretty widespread day for a severe weather threat across the United States. Zooming back in on our tornado warning storm, we do have a brand new reflectivity scan showing a nasty looking hail spike on this thing. So if you're not aware, what's happening here is the radar is trying to penetrate through this hailstorm, but it fails because that hail is so large and so dense that it creates this feature on the radar that we like to call a hail spike. It's kind of a little spike there that pops out of the storm, and you can see that associated with this over Highway 285. Again, we cannot trust anything that the velocities say because of how contaminated this is, but we are going to continue to watch out for this. So again, going to make sure that we're covering this storm on all bases. Again, obviously not a whole lot of people live out here, but for the few that do, we want to make sure that we are providing some coverage because there's not a lot of other folks that are live right now. So again, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. If you do have the possibility to, I would recommend sharing this out on social media because again, as far as I'm aware, other than Levi, I think that we are the only channel live at the moment, and Levi honestly may have ended his stream. I haven't looked in about a half hour, so no, he's still live. So again, Levi and I are going to be covering this here for the next, however long it takes. So make sure to stay tuned into the streams here as we give you guys the most accurate and up-to-date forecasting on these severe thunderstorms, and again, potentially tornadic thunderstorms throughout portions of Texas, and then also some of these big-time hailers that we're dealing back with throughout portions of the southeast quadrant. We actually have gotten some reports of hail up to ping-pong ball size and damaging wind gusts of 60 to 70 miles an hour from the Durham-Cary, North Carolina region, and the severe storm that caused those impacts is currently moving near the Rocky Mount region. And again, any one of these little supercells here that develops along our boundaries are going to have the possibility to potentially produce some large hail or maybe some isolated damaging wind gusts. So we're going to watch these quite closely as well throughout sections of the southeastern United States. So let me go ahead and get a community post out about this so that everybody knows what's going on. Okay. So again, unfortunately, we have not had thumbnails prepared for the last few live streams, and again, I'm sorry about that, but this one in particular, I really wasn't even sure if I was going live today or not, so this one's not my fault, okay? But again, as we saw that tornado warning come in there a few minutes ago, I figured it would be the right move to go ahead and do that, as there's legitimately nobody covering this right now other than Levi. So again, watching this storm mainly for just a huge hail threat at this point. Again, some monster hail likely falling along Highway 285 there. This tornado warning currently does have the tennis ball-sized hail tag on it. So again, if you're in this area, you do want to make sure that you're not only seeking shelter because of that tornadic area of circulation, but even if you've already been passed through it, you are going to deal with that monster hail threat that we're likely seeing with this. Again, those areas where we're seeing those pink and those blue colors, that is indicative of large to potentially, again, gorilla hail out there. Near in southeast of Fort Stockton, Texas. If we take a look at the vertically integrated liquid signatures, we can see that we've got several maxed out swaths here with these two supercells that have merged along Highway 67. So again, likely a monster hail threat occurring with these Texas supercells as we speak. So again, we're going to watch this storm continue to ride down Highway 285 as there are a couple of smaller towns out here in southwestern Texas, the most notable one being Sanderson, but as this storm is moving so incredibly slow, I'd imagine that it's likely going to dissipate by the time it gets to Sanderson. This is moving off to the southeast at about 30 miles an hour, and Sanderson is, again, a good 60 miles away or so. So this would have to maintain the same level of intensity for 2 hours and take a shift to the west if we had to be worried about this impacting downtown Sanderson. So again, not saying it's impossible, but it is an extremely unlikely scenario. So anyways, we're going to go ahead and continue to watch this here. Again, I appreciate you guys that are all just now tuning in. Make sure to like and subscribe if you've not already. We do this every day for areas all across the country. Again, Storm Hunter Media just above my head there. They are inside of this tornado warning right now. Again, they're going to have a decent look at what's ongoing at the surface here if this supercell does try to produce like a land spout or something like that. So we'll continue to watch out for this. Again, watching some of our supercells back into the Texas Panhandle, but these are mainly just going to be a large hail threat. But I'll tell you what, a huge hail threat at that there for a few of the supercells near the Memphis and Clarendon regions. We have gotten a few reports of quarter-sized hail, and remember, this is a very rural area, so any reports at all is somewhat surprising. It means that there's likely very large hail ongoing. So, brand new severe thunderstorm warning for a little cell that's popped up here pretty quickly, actually, just west of Midland, Odessa. This is for Nautries. If you're in this area, you need to make sure that you are moving indoors immediately. This is for quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. I'm being told to look at Connor's feed. Wow! Look at that! That is beautiful. He's got a pretty good look at the mezzo there. Wow. So again, we don't technically have his permission to use his stream on the feed, so I probably shouldn't be pulling that up. But beautiful look there from Storm Chaser Connor Croft. Again, he's been in the streams before. I think he's got a good impression of us, but again, we don't want to use his feed, obviously, without permission. So you're going to just stick to Storm Hunter Media and Freddie McKinney for today. And again, Freddie, I think, is out there chasing right now, but I'm not sure that he's on this Supercell, and Storm Hunter Media is. So we're going to go ahead and stick with the chasers that we know are getting pretty close to this dangerous area of circulation here. Again, luckily, the worst of this has developed well off to the south of Fort Stockton. If this was happening closer to Fort Stockton, we may have a bit of a problem because Fort Stockton is actually a decent population center. Obviously, there's that meme of every West Texas event, Fort Stockton gets slabbed. This time around, that's somewhat been the case because we did get a report of a landspout on the north side of Fort Stockton and damaging wind gusts, and we likely had some very large hailfall in that region as well, but it's not quite as bad as it has been in the past. Yeah, we use OBS over here just because it's very user-friendly, very easy for me to learn. Not saying it's the best streaming software out there, but it gets the job done for sure. So, again, continuing to watch some of these strong to severe thunderstorms as they move over the Peoria metro region right now back into central Illinois. Again, isolated large to very large hail can't be ruled out with these, as we do have some pretty steep lapse rates out in this region, and again, we have already gotten some quarter-size hail from the Farmington region reported by emergency managers with these severe thunderstorms about 30 to 45 minutes ago. So I saw what you were talking about, Sam, but the thing about that is obviously, one, we are very far away from the radar site. Two, it could be partially contaminated due to large hail. So we'll definitely watch that, as that certainly could have the possibility to tighten up a little bit further and become a little bit more evident that it really is that strong of rotation. But right now, I'm just not entirely convinced that it's quite as intense as it looks. Wow, look at that. This is a ProjectWeatherEye.com camera in the thick of this severe thunderstorm. Wow. Look at that. You can see all those gusty winds out here. Again, I wouldn't be driving in this, in a semi especially. New mesoscale discussion, let's check it out. I imagine it's for our severe thunderstorm watch that we already have in place. Let's see, though. Yes, it is. So they have actually done a pretty interesting move here. They have upgraded the peak probable intensity for not just the tornado threat, but with everything. They're now saying that damaging wind gusts up to 80 miles per hour will be a possibility, along with tennis bowl-sized hail and potentially a couple of tornadoes as well throughout sections of the Texas Panhandle. But again, as we said, the best chance for a tornado comes down in that sweet spot in West Texas there, where we have the greatest 3K vorticity overlaps. So sorry, I had to stay hydrated there. Took a good sip of that water. But we are going to be watching out for these supercells down here in this area, as, again, they certainly are going to have that potential to produce tornadoes. So we did just get a new tornado warning there for the storm that Sam mentioned just a minute ago. Again, that velocity couplet being north of Interstate 10 right now. If you're in this area, you need to make sure that you are seeking shelter immediately on the lowest floor of a sturdy building, away from windows and in an interior room. This is for Bakersfield, Texas. Again, not really a town, but looks like a little rest stop there. I think this area is even less populated than the other tornado warning that we had, but again, anybody being out here at all is something that where we want to make sure that they know what's going on. It actually is a little more populated. We've got about 123 people out here included in this tornado warning, and again, of course, there could be folks traveling along the interstate as well. I'm getting a spam call from Lombard, Illinois. Anyways, again, I hope you all are having a fantastic day. Welcome back, Vincent, again. A little surprise live stream coming at you here for today, as some of these West Texas supercells have managed to become quite intense. Now, I will say tomorrow looks nearly exactly the same in terms of a severe weather threat. If anything, it could be a little bit more intense from a tornadic perspective across parts of southeastern New Mexico as well as far western portions of Texas here. The Storm Prediction Center does have that 2% tornado threat going all the way back into Kansas and Colorado here. Now, if we were to see something that far north, I'd imagine it would just be a landslide. There's not quite enough moisture or, any sort of cape out there to bring us a significant tornado threat of sorts. But definitely can't rule out a landspout back out that far north. Again, damaging wind gusts and hail all going to be a possibility as well. But the bullseye going to be pretty much over the exact same area as it is for today across western Texas. Now, after that, we've got another marginal risk of severe weather out here for sections of the southern plains, and I would be willing to bet that this would get upgraded to a slight risk of severe weather. not driven by a 5% tornado risk, but likely a 15% hail or maybe a damaging wind risk. Now, taking a look at the Day 7 outlook, we do actually have a Day 7 slight risk of severe weather. This is a pretty huge one, stretching across most of the northern plains and the central plains here. Again, I would not rule out a couple of strong tornadoes with this setup. There's still a lot of uncertainties, though, so again, it's kind of surprising that they even had enough confidence to throw out a Day 7 slight risk for this, but the parameters are in place, certainly, for a significant severe weather outbreak here on the 28th, and even on April 27th, which obviously, very mysterious day. So, I don't know if the 27th is going to quite play out like the 28th, but it's just kind of interesting to think about, obviously, because of the 27th history. But either way, again, some significant severe weather going to be in the cards for the northern plains, potentially, as we go into the early portions of next week, as well as this weekend, and we are likely going to have a forecast discussing that over the next couple of nights. So, again, continuing to watch this supercell here now southeast of Peoria. Should have put Utah 5% on the bingo risk. I mean, honestly, that usually does not happen unless, there's really not much of an unless. Usually, Utah will not see a 5% tornado risk in a given year. It happens occasionally. I think it happened last year, but last year was a bit of an above-average monsoon season, so hard to say. Anyways, again, this supercell further off to the north near Midland, Odessa, we're going to watch as it is incredibly discreet, and we could be watching out for some tornadic development with that, especially if it undergoes like a little baby merger or anything like that. Luckily, that's going to go far off to the west of Midland, Odessa for the most part. So, alrighty. Over 100 EF2 plus tornadoes so far this year, yeah, and that is far more than what we had at this time last year. So, very, very concerning start to the season. We'll continue to watch our Illinois storm here. Again, I don't think it's going to be able to sustain itself much longer. The ingredients just aren't quite in place here. But this is going to continue to travel down I-74 north of Bloomington. So if you are in this area, prepare to move indoors. Again, I could see a very, very, very localized street flooding threat develop with this potentially, but it's really not even all that. It's just these areas have already seen quite a bit of rain over the past few days, and then we start to, talk about over an inch of accumulation, an inch and a half of accumulation on top of that. Maybe, a road or two gets flooded out in some more flood-prone areas. But not a whole lot to worry about with that. Again, mainly watching for a hail threat with those storms. I did indeed, Footy, yeah. We had an incredible, not necessarily incredible, but a beautiful land spout earlier today back there in Utah. And again, we've had a couple of big-time land spouts out here in Texas as well. So, again, Storm Intermedia out here in a pretty much perfect position. Look at that. So they have a live look at this. Let's see what they're thinking. We'll turn on their audio here.
Can't tell if that's like a little scud bomb or maybe like a wall cloud trying to...
That's what I was just wondering. It looks to me like that's probably a wall cloud developing there. Hanging very low. So, we'll see. But I'm not going to rule anything out, but I'm also not going to guarantee that that's a wall cloud or a funnel or anything. It's definitely not a funnel, but we'll see. I don't know if that's up on your screen or not, but let's check this out.
They got here quick. They were parked with us.
Look at that.
This is so tight. I'm going to keep going up 285, or? I guess you can pull up right here. We'll have a view.
Connor has perfect position. Well, he's just closer to it. If I pull him up on another device, then I can't reach it. By the way, we do have a few thousand customers in Fort Stockton without power now.
I forgot about this crazy ass Honda Civic. Oh yeah, the Honda.
Again, a few power lines down out there, most likely due to damaging wind gusts. I will say Connor does have a pretty beautiful view of the structure, though, to say the least. Again, definitely some sort of wall cloud trying to develop there southeast of Fort Stockton now. So if you're in this area, make sure that you are in your safe spot. I'm going to go and notify Levi about this because I don't know if he's paying attention to this or not. And just like that, I mean, it's kind of disappeared.
You guys think this is cool, but
We'll see.
I don't really know. I need
Again, still watching that storm further up to the north along I-10. If you are in this area, you do need to be in your safe spot, but this one's going to have a much harder time producing anything, in my opinion, due to the fact that its hook is completely cut off there. The inflow is not great due to the southern cell being so close. Look at that. It is extremely windy out here, guys, out ahead of these storms. And that does actually pose a little bit of an elevated wildfire risk for today. I don't remember not if they do have a fire risk out. No, they do not. But elevated gusts out here today. So the areas that don't see thunderstorms are definitely going to have that potential for an elevated wildfire threat. So try to avoid burning in open areas.
Well, you have a 35-mile-an-hour gust going right in there.
35-mile-an-hour gust. Getting well out ahead of the severe thunderstorm here. Okay, this camera along Highway 67 is getting smacked here. Look at all that huge hail. Wow. Look at that. We've got some monster hail here with our storm along Highway 67. Again, this is accumulating quite nicely here. Wow. Again, likely some golf balls out there. So, again, this is warned for up to tennis ball size hail. If you're in this area, you need to be seeking shelter. Again, you're under a tornado warning, so. And again, Summer Media has a beautiful look at this from the distance right now.
Maps are heading up 286.
Very likely that if this does produce anything, it's going to be a rain-wrapped landspout potentially, so you want to keep that in mind. Just because you can't see a tornado doesn't mean it's not there. New severe thunderstorm warning for Canadian Texas for half-dollar sized hail and damaging wind gusts up to 60 miles an hour. If you're in this area, make sure you are moving indoors and away from windows immediately. Again, that view there from that camera, though, is just incredible. Look at all that hail accumulating. Again, some golf balls, maybe some limes. Storm chaser coverage? Okay, buddy. You don't have to crap on me for using chasers that have given me permission. By the way, a little cell merger here, encroaching from the south, so we'll see how that affects this. And if anything, it's going to kill this northern storm's tornado threat that is already pretty minimal. And we do have a hail spike from the northern storm that pokes all the way out here. That's pretty interesting. Again, it creates this double hail spike feature. Alright. So again, going back to our Illinois storm, mainly just a thunder shower at this point, but wouldn't rule out some maybe pea-sized hail there, especially near Washington. Washington, Illinois, another very infamous area for tornadoes in modern-day history. Speaking of which, I've got a little exciting announcement. We are working on a March Madness-style tornado competition. Now, you may be thinking, why is it not in March, you idiot? Well, it is peak tornado season in April and May, and also, I got too lazy. I ran out of time in March. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I was busy doing other things. I was streaming. I think we streamed every day in March, at least towards the end, and most of those streams were 2 to 3 hours long. I didn't have the time, alright, between that and school and everything else. I did not have the time to set up this. But if you think about it again, it kind of makes sense, because even though this year peak tornado season likely occurred already in March, not saying it did, saying it's likely, obviously most years, it's April, May, so I think it makes a little bit more sense to have it in April, May. Holy's good. Let me pull up their feed again.
Yeah, I would. Okay.
I don't know if you're talking about from SRM or not. Anyways. So again, most of these Dixie storms here are actually going to bring a pretty significant hail threat. No tornado on the ground. Nothing confirmed, at least to our knowledge. Let us know if that's not the case, though. Connor's feed is cooked. My goodness, we've still got hail falling in this camera here. An incredible hailstorm out here. East of Fort Stockton, Texas. And again, this one further to the south has a much more impressive presentation of the reflectivity, but that could also just be because it's further from radar, so we'll see. Now, it's just hail, no sort of debris signature, and again, we're not going to see a debris signature even if this does produce a tornado because we are looking, 10,000 feet up into the atmosphere here, so if we did see a debris signature, we'd be talking about a pretty strong tornado, and that's not what we're going to be dealing with here if this does try to produce. Reed has it.
As soon as we get past that, we're getting
Look at this. Look at all that dust. Now we're talking.
Look at that structure, Dan.
Wow.
5-0.
Looks like they're about to get eaten alive by this. Dude, I wish we got West Texas structure. I wish that we got West Texas structure out here. Or North Dakota structure. That's its own thing. Yeah, I'm watching Reed's stream right now. It's definitely not on the ground, but it's trying. Very interesting from a close-range view. Without a shadow of a doubt. New severe thunderstorm warning for another one of our Texas Panhandle cells. Again, another extension. Teed Rimmer. This is for tennis ball size hail and damaging winds up to 60 miles an hour. I'm going to be honest with you guys. There's a good chance that we have hail larger than tennis ball size packing with these storms out here. We've got DBZ values consistently over 70, at times getting close to 75 or higher. So, again, if you are in this area, you need to make sure that you're getting indoors and away from windows. Again, vertically integrated liquid, maxed out. Don't even see it yet, but I can already tell you it's maxed out over a large swath here. Yeah. So, again, that's a 15-mile wide vertically integrated liquid signature. Swath maxed out. I don't know why I can't say that. Vertically integrated liquid signature. So again, Storm Media driving right into this beautiful structure. I mean, this is incredible. If nothing else, this has been a day of incredible structure. Yes, that was a voice crack. There's always 5 at least per stream, I've realized, no matter how short it is. Sometimes I realize I do it. Sometimes I've been told that I don't realize it. But I think usually I can tell when I do it. Wind just picked up on Reed's stream. We have an ongoing tornado here. Let's check it out. Definitely not an ongoing tornado that we can confirm, but wow, it's trying. Oh my goodness, it's trying. Is he peeing? Oh gosh. Northeast Alabama, 10 lightning strikes in the last 10 minutes. Yeah, again, we talked about this, but a lot of these Dixie hailstorms are mainly going to bring a hail threat with them. But heavy rain and lightning, obviously, just your typical late spring thunderstorms here out in Dixie. And again, you're going to see even more of this during the summertime, obviously. mainly watching the Texas Panhandle, but we're also watching a couple spots in Dixie Alley, and then some thunderstorms back through parts of Illinois as well, producing some very small hail. Again, at a point it got up to quarter size there, and obviously it's a little bit more of a populated region. So, again, this double hail spike is incredible. I know Ryan Schull has a spotter dot on. I saw it a minute ago. Freddie does as well. Bryce Shelton. A lot of recognizable names out here. Stephen Walshaley. And if you are new here, make sure you like and subscribe. Well, the 17th, though, ended in a not-so-great way. New severe thunderstorm warning for one of these Louisiana supercells near Leesville. Again, as we said, these severe thunderstorm warnings are going to be popping out left, right, and center across Dixie Alley here, mainly just going to be for hail. Also like to note, we do have a couple of flash flood warnings in effect across sections of Louisiana and Mississippi, one of them going out for Villa Platte along I-49, the other along I-59 near Poplarville, and we're seeing more heavy rainfall over this area, which is likely what prompted this flash flood warning. I'd imagine there's not flash flooding ongoing, but it will start very soon. Actually, there's a good chance that there is. There's already been almost 4 inches of accumulation here near Poplarville. So again, turn around, don't drown when encountering flooded roadways. Also, we got a couple spots out here that have accumulated quite a bit of rain in southern Louisiana near New Orleans. Again, it's all where the specific cells decide to develop. Softball-sized hail and Reed Zimmer. Oh yeah, I do see that. I don't know about softballs, but definitely some big hail. Maybe baseball. All right. Reed's done for. His windshield's done for. Again, Storm Intermediate just had to get it repaired a few days ago, so if I were them, I would not be sitting here under this. Whoa. Okay, so one of our Texas Panhandle storms has now been upgraded to large apple-sized hail. This is the one we mentioned a lot of times. Alright, so if you are in Bryce, South Bryce, or Lakeview, again, you need to be making sure that you are seeking shelter immediately. Away from windows. Bring your car inside the garage, or under a carport or something. Not sitting outside in the driveway, especially if you're in Bryce. Bryce is about to get slammed here with this hail. Again, we've got DBZ values at 74. At multiple pixels, so again, consistently over 70. You don't see something like this a lot out here. So again, if you're in this area, make sure that you are getting indoors and as far away from windows as possible. I, urge you guys to take the same amount of caution here on the northern warning. These are just 2 different National Weather Service offices. But again, either way, very intense hailstorm ongoing west of Lakeview, Texas, near Bryce. Check CC. Can't see any hail on CC, but again, this is a destructive storm now in Texas. Head to end your live for now. Congrats on the coverage. How's it going here? It is going pretty well. We are watching this Fort Stockton storm like a hawk. We're going to see if it's going to produce or if it's going to remain a beautiful structure storm. And again, huge hailstorm out here in Texas. Now warned for large apple-sized hail. And again, not super surprising. I feel like they would have done it earlier if there were reports of, hail of maybe lime size, but there's just not enough people out here to report it. I mean, there's genuinely nobody that lives in the areas where this has been hitting. This has been moving over a creek, and then it was moving over a country road. I mean, it's all rural. There's legitimately almost nobody that this hail core has been impacting until now. Yeah, South Bryce is not actually a town. It is just the intersection of Highway 70 and Highway 256. I'd also like to note this is a relatively mountainous region. But wow. Again, incredible hailstorm. I wish we had a chaser on that. Again, after recent events, though, not just Storm Media, but all of our chasers, after recent events, they don't want to mess with these hail cores, and I don't blame them. New severe thunderstorm warning in Oklahoma for one of our Texas Panhandle cells. Quarter-sized hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds approaching Crawford and Roll, as well as Durham. Again, these are all just unincorporated communities. These aren't actually towns. If I had to guess, there's maybe 200 people included in this entire severe thunderstorm warning. But we're going to watch it. Again, the amount of mergers this thing has undergone is insane. It's likely why it has managed to pop off this incredible hail core. That was a horrible double voice crack. Alright, our northern tornado warning here, I feel like this is only in effect at this point as a precautionary measure because we don't know what's going on necessarily at the surface because we don't have any spotters or chasers on this because of a poor road network, and we don't really have any radar coverage either, but I'd be willing to bet that is likely losing some steam, and our southern storm here still looking relatively intense from a surface view and from a velocity perspective. Along Highway 285. Yeah, also look, again, radar coverage pretty terrible. Looking about 10,000 feet in the atmosphere there. Again, just incredible hail core here, and they did just issue a flash flood warning, as we stated. So, again, if you are in Bryce, Woodburn Place, or South Bryce, make sure that you are avoiding travel in flooded roadways. This is a flash flood warning for portions of Hall and Briscoe counties. Again, this is a very slow-moving storm, which is going to ramp up this flooding threat even further. Again, it's only moving at 15 miles an hour, which is also going to lead to very significant hail accumulation on roadways. But about 3.5 inches of accumulation already out here, and we have the potential to see even more. So I would not be surprised if the National Weather Service in Amarillo also goes ahead and issues that flash flood warning here for the south of Clarendon area very shortly. Sanderson's storm is done for. And look at all that dust being kicked up in the back there. Some Reed Simmons wearing helmets. Classic Reed Zimmer move. So again, taking a look at the HRRR model here, we can see that as we go later into the evening time hours, we are expecting these thunderstorms to die out, but a developing QLCS could be possible through sections of southern Kansas. So we will be watching out for some significant damaging winds from the Wichita back through Woodward, Oklahoma region. Outside of that, a couple of cells possible back north of Kansas City, pretty consistent there with the HRRR runs on that. And then overnight, some thunder showers developing back into parts of Iowa and Illinois. And then we get into tomorrow's threat. which, again, looks pretty similar to today. Maybe a slightly better tornado threat. Pretty impressive storm mode there. So we'll watch out for a pretty similar area tomorrow at a pretty similar time for a pretty similar threat. Fun fact, there was a Storm Prediction Center website glitch earlier that led to you being able to see. So if you don't know, mesoscale discussions are issued for areas when there's a concerning severe weather threat noted by the Storm Prediction Center. We saw one of those get issued. It was Mesoscale Discussion 546 for today's severe thunderstorm watch potential. They threw that out there, but for the first 10 minutes or so of that being out on the website, if you clicked on it, it would bring you to Mesoscale Discussion 546 of last year. Because if you don't know, the numbers reset at the beginning of every year, so it would bring you back to 546 of last year. By Mesoscale Discussion 546 of last year, we were on April 25th, so about the same time that we are now, and you bet it was 4 sections of the Texas Panhandle in West Texas. I mean, it's something about these late April patterns here, especially for parts of West Texas and southeastern New Mexico that just love to start their season, because if you don't know, this region usually deals with a severe weather threat in the late spring and early summer, and it seems to always be late April when it starts. But unwarned tornado warning. Doesn't really make a lot of sense. If you're saying there's an ongoing tornado with this storm, there's not. This is not a debris signature. And velocities are hail contaminated, so even those probably not as impressive as they look. They just downgraded that storm, by the way, so it's no longer destructive, but it is still warned for tennis ball-sized hail. So you should be taking that just as seriously. The tornado warning for our southern storm has been canceled, and it has been replaced with a severe thunderstorm warning with the tornado possible tag for sections of Highway 285 north of Sanderson. And they're keeping the tornado warning for our I-10 storm. It's up Central Illinois EAS. Hope you've been capturing these severe warnings and special weather statements out by Peoria. We did just get a new one of those, by the way, for a little cell that's popped up near Banner, approaching Pekin, Bartonville, and the south side of Peoria. Wouldn't be shocked to see this get a severe thunderstorm warning for some quarter-sized hail, some 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. And again, an isolated flooding threat could ramp up here if too many of these cells track over the same areas. Already seen about 1.5 inches of accumulation in the Peoria metro region, and they're going to see several more bands of these strong thunderstorms here with heavy precipitation. So we'll see. What's up, Sydney? We already talked about that. Storm Chaser 575. Again, this Project Weather Eye camera out here had an incredible hailstorm. I'm doing pretty well. How about you? But yeah, it had an incredible view of the hail core associated with this before it shifted further to the south and then dissipated entirely. Usually whenever we see those shifts in like a hail core, it's also a sign of dissipation. Had a bad headache. I heard you talking about that in Levi's stream. I know, we already talked about that. There's no tornado on the ground. And again, the storm is really not even rotating nearly as impressively as it looks because of hail contamination and distance from the radar site. It's also not even a destructive storm anymore. It's a considerable again. But very significant hail core still. Anyways. Again, got my water here. We're staying hydrated. New severe thunderstorm warning just issued for one of our supercells west of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. This same area, again, dealt... Oh my gosh, that voice crack was so bad. This same area dealt with another severe thunderstorm, less than an hour ago. Again, you can see some of these regions have already accumulated likely over 4 inches of rain. So I would not be shocked to see some localized flooding here. And another new severe thunderstorm warning for one of our Louisiana cells. This is just because the cell is interacting with this boundary here. It's kind of shifting further to the west as the boundary moves further west. So, severe thunderstorm warning there for Provençal. Make sure you're moving indoors, quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. I hope within the next year those voice cracks are gone. Because they have been so bad for the past 6 months. Another new severe thunderstorm warning just issued. That's going out for one of our Texas Panhandle cells. It's actually just a reissuance for the severe thunderstorm warning near Lakeview for that supercell. Again, the National Weather Service has noted that there's not a whole lot of rotation associated with it, even though it appears so on the velocities. That's just because of far radar distance as well as hail contamination. But still got to look out for some tennis ball-sized hail there. So if you are in Hall County, I'd be moving indoors and away from windows. Just a bit of lag, just warning you. Let me know if that keeps happening, because that's certainly happened before and it has ruined live streams without me noticing. We do have another special weather statement for sections of northern Illinois. This is for a supercell, of course, approaching Rochelle. This is weird. They didn't even fill out the entire description for the special weather statement. But some penny-sized hail with that one. And they did just issue a new severe thunderstorm warning for another little supercell here near Kermit, Texas. Again, these develop super quickly. Ping pong ball-sized hail and 60-mile-an-hour damaging wind gusts. And another severe thunderstorm warning for the Texas Panhandle here for half-dollar-sized hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds near Canadian. So again, make sure you're moving indoors and away from windows in Canadian. This storm is moving very fast. Is it? No, it's not. It's just, this is a whole separate cell. Okay. Thank you, D. Abbott. But, again, going to continue to watch our 20-1 storm in Pecos County. Again, at this point, don't notice a whole lot of rotation with this. I think this is just a precautionary tornado warning. If anything, I would keep the southern one tornado warning because we still have a view of some crazy structure and velocity look pretty impressive. Again, this is a live look from Storm Media. Look at how windy it is out there. They have been, you know what, Winnie, I will make you a blue wrench. I've been saying I'm going to do that, so let's do it. But, they've measured some gusts of, oh my goodness, I can't stop voice cracking. They've measured some gusts of 30 to 40 miles an hour here, outside of the thunderstorm. So, pretty interesting. We did just get a brand new severe thunderstorm warning. I would like to know where that's going out for. Oh, okay. Did the little classic Radar Omega disappearing trick. That is for portions of Louisiana for Chatham. This little cell here, they suspect has some quarter-sized hail and damaging wind gusts up to 60 miles an hour. So if you're in this area, make sure you are moving indoors. But, again, this little Peoria cell here, wouldn't be shocked if this produced some penny to maybe even quarter-sized hail east of Banner. Again, a couple more cells appear to have at least some pea-sized hail associated with them in and around the Peoria metro. Again, just looking at the vertically integrated liquid signatures is a great way to see if these storms are producing hail. And there's a good chance that we have some very small hail here across some of these storms in central Illinois. And again, lapse rates are saving these. Otherwise, these would not be able to do anything. So... again, Connor is legitimately right under this area of rotation, so we'll see if he gets a view of anything. But Dude, what is this Kevin and Sam beef? Again, the velocities look so intense, but that's just because we are genuinely looking about 12,000 to 15,000 feet into the atmosphere with this right now. So this is rotation, and it is indicative of rotation, but in the very, very high levels of the atmosphere. This is even higher in the atmosphere. We can see, even more intense. So again, there is rotation with this, and it's quite intense, but it is stuck in those very, very high levels of the atmosphere, and it's struggling to translate to the surface. So if that trend continues, there's a good chance that this storm does not produce a tornado. Happy birthday, Evan. Sorry I didn't see your message. So again, likely going to see this tornado warning be allowed to expire here with our storm along I-10. But I'm still somewhat concerned with this along Highway 285. Again, in the higher levels of the atmosphere, there is rotation, without a shadow of a doubt. The question is, can it translate to the surface? Okay. How was the essay? It was peak. I didn't mean that in like a bad way. I really do enjoy reading your deep dive analysis of those events. I was being genuine. And they're also just kind of funny. Alright, new severe thunderstorm warning just issued. That's going out for an extension of our storm near Nautries. Now been upgraded to ping pong ball sized hail. So if you're on Goldsmith, make sure you are moving indoors and away from windows. See a Storm Chaser 575. If I have anything to say about the day 7 risk, here's what I'm going to say. The parameters are in play for a large severe weather outbreak, but anybody that tells you a week out that it's definitely going to happen and that we know with 100% chance that it's going to happen, they are lying. But what we can tell you is that it is likely that it will occur. Again, Day 7 slight risks are not something that are typically put out by the Storm Prediction Center unless we have high forecasting confidence in an event, and especially one this large. But this year, they have just been cranking them out left, right, and center. Sometimes they pay off, other times not so much, so we'll see what this one does. But I will tell you, just based off of model runs from the long-range forecasting models, it looks like we are definitely going to have a environment in play that could, pop off a couple of strong tornadoes. So we'll see what happens. Again, it is so unbelievably early, but I can tell you that the likelihood for the greatest potential of tornadic activity is going to come from the Quad State region of Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, and Missouri. But again, definitely looking at quite a potent threat for severe weather. Again, GFS having over 3,000 CAPE, over 3,500 CAPE, and that is a low-resolution model. So there is definitely going to be an environment in tap for the 28th of potentially a large severe weather outbreak. That's what I will say for right now on that. But again, I'm not going to tell you it's going to be the largest tornado outbreak of the century, because it's definitely not. I'm not even going to tell you that it's going to be the largest tornado outbreak of the year, because it's probably not. But we can tell you it looks pretty intense. And again, that's just right now. We could see an uptrend. We could see a downtrend. I mean, there is so much room for a event to change in forecast intensity in a week. And I don't think that a lot of people realize that. But, you have these events where they throw out day 6, 7, 8 slight risks. And a lot of people just automatically assume, oh, we're going to have a widespread tornado outbreak. That's not necessarily always the case. I do agree with this day 7 slight risk of severe weather. I personally wouldn't have enough confidence to throw it out at this early stage in the event. But if they are going to be able to do that with confidence, honestly, again, that is awesome. Again, the Storm Prediction Center are obviously much more well-versed in the realm of forecasting than I am. So we're going to trust what they say. And again, we need to be prepared because there is the great potential that a large severe weather outbreak could impact the central plains as we go into not only early portions of next week, but also this weekend. Again, the Day 7 outlook, that would be for the 28th. What day is April 28th? It's a Monday. So the 27th also looks like it could bring us some significant severe weather for sections of the Central Plains. So, again, Sunday, Monday thing. And until then, we're likely just going to keep dealing with these Dixie / desert southwest severe minuscule hail events. So, anyways, that's my thoughts on the upcoming week. I will say we're probably not going to be here for much longer, probably another 5 minutes or so. I just want to get this stream stretched out to over 1 hour. I will say, if you've been around with this channel for a long time, you'll notice that these stream times have gone up significantly. It would not be uncommon for us to do a 20 to 30 minute long stream, like just a year ago, which is crazy to think because now a 1 hour stream feels short. I mean, that's just insane to me. And again, it's all thanks to you guys. I would not be able to do this as much as I am if it wasn't for all your guys' crazy support with, subscribing, liking, donations, everything. Thundering here with a severe storm coming in, small hail. Not necessarily a severe storm yet, Alan, but we'll watch. I see what are you talking about, the thunder showers off to your north? Right now, it looks like your area is going to be okay. New severe thunderstorm warning just issued. That's going out for areas east of Wesson in Mississippi. This is for Woolworth, for another little supercell here for some quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Davis will be in southwest Georgia tomorrow. Could I see a hailstorm or two? Maybe like mid-afternoon time hours. Yeah, I'd say so. But for the most part, for the southeast quadrant, we're going to be watching areas east of southwestern Georgia. And again, not really too much of a tornado risk associated with that. But some hail, some wind, both going to be possibilities. But anyways. So again, we're going to stay live here for at least 4 more minutes so that we can stretch out this stream to the 1 hour mark. But after that, we're probably going to end off since we no longer have any storms that I think are immediately concerning for a tornado threat. I still think this Highway 285 one looks somewhat intense, but again, you got to remember we are looking up to 15,000 feet into the atmosphere to see that velocity couplet. We are 100 miles away from the Midland-Odessa radar site. Literally 100 miles away. So there's no guarantee that this rotation is that intense at the surface. Again, it's likely not, but in the higher levels of the atmosphere, it is. So we'll see if that can translate to the surface, but if not, we're going to end off our coverage for today and maybe come back later, but probably not. If we do come back later, it'd be for a chill stream. But again, I've got some background video projects that I really want to work on for you guys that I think are going to be really impressive. Again, make sure to turn notifications on for the December 9th documentary, because that is the hardest I have ever worked on a single video, ever. Throughout, Davis's weather, Davis's games, everything. I have put legitimately over 20 hours of work into that one 17-minute video, including filming, editing, getting permission from chasers to use their stuff. And I do have to thank a few people for making that video a possibility. We do that in that video. But again, just a huge, huge moment because, I mean, again, thinking back, I genuinely don't think that I've ever put this much work into a single video. And also, we've got a huge Twisted Chase releasing tomorrow over on the Davis's Games channel. I really do appreciate all the support over on that channel. It has been absolutely nuts. It's crazy how that channel now gets almost as many, if not more, views than the main channel. And again, I cannot thank you guys enough for that because I still love gaming on the side. So that is awesome that you guys love watching me do it as well. Again, this channel started out as a gaming channel, if you didn't know that. So it's awesome. It really is. But, anyways. Again, that is likely going to end off our coverage here for today. Just one last thing to everybody that tuned in. Tenacious, what's going on? We're just about to wrap things up here, but thank you for joining. But yeah, that is going to be it for today. going to be back here tomorrow at around the same time, covering more severe thunderstorms and possible landspouts across southeastern New Mexico and western Texas. I've actually thought about doing that, Henry, but it doesn't really fit the brand of either of my channels. So, anyways, that's it for today. Thank you all for tuning in. Again, I just want to make sure, okay, we are over the 1 hour mark. So, again, thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace.